The GSX1000. Brembo discs, Nissan on the back, Brembo on the front. Love this gold detailing on the brakes and the bar ends and here on the frame as well. So ladies and gents, we are on the GSX1000. Right, I wanted to ride this bike because I wanted to compare it to the Z1000SX. My knees down here aren't as tucked into the tank as it was on the 750S, you know. There's an underlying whistle of kind of like an induction, I suppose, whistle when you're rolling on the throttle. I was speaking to the gentleman in the bike shop, right, and I asked him, you know, do all the Suzuki models now, even though they've come through all the Euro 4 and all that kind of malarkey, do they all still have this Suzuki fueling problem? And he was going, yes, they do. He says it's all to do with the injection of the bike. If you alter the idle, so instead of it idling at 1000 revs, it idles at 1200, he said that can sort of smooth it out a little bit. But I was saying to him that it was my opinion that I think you'd need to do a bit more deeper, like mess about with the ECU mapping and stuff like that, and the fueling on the bike, just to smooth that out. And do you know what? It's achievable, you know, and you can sort this out. Gear change is beautiful. Indicators are way down there, away from this select button, which was the problem on the Kawasaki. You kept hitting the select button. I like that. That's out of the way. Perfect. I'm in third gear, and there's an urgency to this bike. It's got a lot of fairing on there around my legs, and it's got this screen that's, don't think this is an adjustable screen, but the wind protection's very good on it. Still having to counter steer a little bit on this. You don't tip in as nice as what you do on the 750. You definitely feel it's a firmer ride, a definite firmer setup on this. It's not as comfortable. It's got a sporty factor about it. Good job I'm in traction control mode 3, because I'm opening it up, I'm not even twisting around that throttle, it's just a lovely smooth power delivery, but the front end just wants to pull up, it just wants to come up so much. And I reckon if you had that traction control dialed down a bit much, I think it would be a bit of a hooligan bike, and I think you would not struggle to control the front end, but it would definitely come up. Oh, see? Oh, I am having to counter steer this. It didn't flick in as nice as I'm doing the same speed as what I was doing on the 750. Now on the 750 I'd have done that roundabout with ease, flicking it in. I would say a bit of a high maintenance steering on it. It's a heavy front end on this, I would say. I hate the throttle on and off, it's banging on and on. Oh, it's doing my head in. So the speed limit's down here is 40. I've tried first gear, I've tried second gear. Well, let's try second gear. And I've got a definite judder. Slow speed. This bike needs to be revved. It doesn't like slow speeds at all, whereas the Kawasaki loved it. Slow speeds. The 750, the Suzuki 750, that loved slow speeds. That didn't mind being, but this wants to be revved. I think this is tuned in such a way that it wants to be ridden hard, I think, this. On a bend, you want to roll it on really, really smoothly. With this bike, because of the fueling and the way it is, it's like a very much of a like that, you know, on the throttle. It's no confidence whatsoever in a bend. But this needs to be in the right gear, at the right speed, to have any fun on it. It doesn't like being sat like this. First gear, above, look, now I get above 4000 revs and there's a bit of urgency, it likes it. She likes this. I've got big old chubby fingers there, right? And if I'm moving my finger around, watch this. So I'm knocking that lever there. That's full beam. So there's no rocker switch for your headlights. The pluses on this bike is just the sporty feel of this bike. Where this bike is happiest and where this bike excels is in third gear, right? And that roll on of, you can just be sat in third gear where we can just have a little bit of fun. That induction roar of of that engine in third, and that's where your fun is. It's a sports bike, it's not a touring bike. I don't think this is an all-rounder, because if you were to do the commute to and from work, you're doing a lot of slow speed stop and start, and this bike doesn't like that. This bike needs to be ridden hard. Tell you another thing as well, alright, MCN. they did a review of the Ducati Supersport, okay? They also then, they don't know where the Ducati Supersport falls into its niche market, and they don't know what to compare it against. What they compared it against was a Kawasaki 1000SX, right, and a Honda VFR. And they found that Ducati doesn't fall into any of that touring market either. I would argue that this bike here, this Suzuki GSX1000, this is a similar bike to the Ducati Supersport. I've seen this bike being compared to the Kawasaki S1000SX, and that's unfair, because the Kawasaki is a sports tourer with a lot of touring capability. This bike isn't a tour, it's a sports bike with upright handlebars. That's what this bike is. It's a comfortable sports bike. Okay, ladies and gents, in conclusion then, on the Suzuki GSX1000, I finally understood where this bike sits. It likes to be ridden hard, you have to keep the revs up. It's a bike that you can hool around on, if you know what I mean. The gear change is really smooth on it. It has definitely got a sports bike feel to it. And this is what this is, it's a sports bike with upright bars. If you want a comfortable sports bike where you can hool around on it, take it down to the cafe on a Wednesday night, you know, race your mates, and take it from one cafe to another, riding country roads and B roads, and proper being a bit of a loon on it, then this is the bike for you. These mirrors are absolutely shabby. To adjust them, you adjust them on the fly here by pushing here and here. Okay, if you push too far that way, it loosens the mirror. Look. Now that can be tightened up, I suppose. Adjust them on the fly. Pathetic. Again, I hate the fueling on the Suzuki bike, and it seems that the more increase in CC of the bike, the worse this fueling gets. Surely you take this out on a test ride, the blokes at the Suzuki factory are taking that out and gone, do you know, we really need to sort that fueling out. So ladies and gents, if you're looking for a sports bike, but you're old like me and everything aches when you sit on a proper sports bike, you want something a bit more upright but with that urgency of a sports bike and that raw power of a sports bike, then get one of these, but get the fueling sorted out.